Quick question. What's the worst thing your government could possibly do to you? Raise taxes? Start a dumb war? Forget about healthcare? Sure. But how about accidentally dropping a nuclear bomb on your neighborhood? Sounds like a freaking joke, right? Like a rejected Family Guy bit. But in 1958, in the sleepy town of Mars Bluff, South Carolina, the U.S. Air Force did exactly that. A fully loaded nuclear bomb, straight out of the sky, and straight into someone's backyard chicken coop. This wasn't some top-secret conspiracy. This is in the official record. On March 11, 1958, a B-47 Stratojet bomber dropped a 7,600-pound Mark VI nuclear bomb. And in case you're wondering, yes, that's the same type of bomb designed as an upgrade to the Fat Man used on Nagasaki. So we're talking about a weapon capable of leveling an entire city, casually falling out of a plane. To understand this, you've got to rewind to the Cold War. The United States was paranoid, like checking the locks 47 times before bed paranoid. They were flying around with armed nuclear weapons on standby because, the Soviets might sneeze and start World War III at any second. These planes weren't empty. They carried live nukes. Imagine an Uber driver who casually keeps grenades in the glove compartment just in case. That was U.S. military strategy smart? Nope. Terrifying? Absolutely. And one of those flights was cruising over South Carolina on March 11, 1958. Routine drill. Sunny skies. Nothing out of the ordinary. Until someone on board made the biggest oops in aviation history. This wasn't unusual. In fact, it was part of something called Operation Chromedome, a U.S. policy where bombers armed with nukes flew patrols 24/7, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Picture planes circling the planet like vultures, except instead of beaks, they had atomic fireballs. By the late 1950s, America had over 18,000 nuclear weapons in its arsenal. Not missiles, not drones. Actual warheads stuffed into bomb bays. And yes, most of them were flown over American soil, because apparently the best way to protect freedom was to dangle apocalypse over your own citizens. So here's how it went down. The crew was running checks. One guy goes to secure the bomb, pulls a lever, and instead of locking it in, he released it. Just like that, the 7,600-pound Mark VI nuclear bomb drops out of the belly of the plane. Now before you freak out, no, the nuclear core wasn't armed. The U.S. had at least that safety measure. But here's the catch. The conventional explosives inside were active. Think of a nuke like an Oreo. The creamy center, the nuclear core, wasn't live. But the crunchy cookie part around it? Yeah, that was ready to pop. The bomb plummeted thousands of feet and smashed into the backyard of the Gregg family in Mars Bluff. And when it hit, boom! Not a mushroom cloud, but a massive conventional explosion that ripped the family's home apart and left a crater the size of a swimming pool. The Gregg family somehow survived. Walter Gregg, his wife, and 6 children were all injured, but none fatally. One daughter, Frances, was thrown into the air by the blast and lived to tell the story. Imagine being 8 years old and casually launched by a nuke. Childhood trauma speedrun. Neighbors rushed over, stunned. Local authorities were called. The Air Force arrived quickly, trying to contain the embarrassment. And yes, the government eventually paid the Greggs compensation. About $54,000, which in today's money is around $500,000. Sounds like a lot, right? Except they lost their house, their belongings, their land value, and oh yeah, they got nuked by their own military. No amount of cash fixes that. Here's the kicker. The Air Force publicly downplayed it, calling it an incident rather than an accident. Like, bro, you dropped a nuclear bomb on civilians. That's not an incident. That's a full-on, we almost deleted a town. The crater is still there today. A weird Cold War tourist attraction. People drive out just to stare at a hole in the ground and go, yep, that's where America nuked itself. Now here's the scary part. Mars Bluff wasn't the only accident. The US has a special term for these. Broken arrows. Translation. Oops, we lost a nuke again. 1961. North Carolina, a B-52 breaks apart mid-air and drops 2 hydrogen bombs. If just one tiny switch had flipped differently, half the state would have been wiped off the map. 1966, Spain. A bomber crashes and scatters nukes across a Spanish beach town. Great for tourism, right? 1968, Greenland. A plane crashes with nukes on board, contaminating the Arctic. Basically, the Cold War wasn't just about scaring each other. It was about scaring ourselves. We were stockpiling enough bombs to vaporize the planet and couldn't even stop dropping them by accident. Today, Mars Bluff is remembered as the town America accidentally nuked. A reminder that sometimes the scariest enemy isn't the one across the ocean. It's the guy in your own cockpit pulling the wrong switch. The Gregg family lived, the town moved on, and history quietly filed it under embarrassing accidents. But let's be honest, that could have been world-ending. And it proves something: the real world, it's way weirder, scarier, and dumber than fiction. So yeah, your government may screw up your taxes, your roads, your Wi-Fi speeds, but hey, at least they haven't nuked your backyard. Yet. This is Brain Warped. Hit that subscribe button before history decides to drop another bomb on us. Literally,